Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I'm back. I'm finally back in the UK. I actually went to Barbados for Christmas, and then I decided to extend because obviously it was lockdown here. And you know, I had a bikini brand to launch, so it was best for me business-wise to stay out there. But I'm finally returned, and I have to say I'm so excited to give you an update. I'm sorry I haven't been more active on YouTube, but I promise you this will now be scheduled content, okay? Won't it?
Yeah.
We're going to do business, swim society, content. Can't say it enough. So today we are doing a work update, aren't we?
Yeah, business update.
Do you want to take the reins?
Okay.
You take the reins. You start it off.
You're orange.
I'll eat my orange.
We're going to do a bit of a business update, like tea spill.
Yeah.
A little bit of info about things that have changed. So obviously, you guys know that Mon took over the brand herself in like October time. Myself, Mon and Tash then relaunched the brand, rebuilt the brand, but there has been a lot that's changed in the past 6 months. So we always want to update you because we want to let you guys know what's going on. There's been some exciting updates too. Been some fun stuff.
Amazing updates.
Which we didn't expect to happen during this time frame, but it's actually been great. But there's also a bit of tea to spill as well. Normally, I would advise against this, but there's been some things that have happened that we feel like are quite personal. And we just want to make sure the record is set straight because
we have very strong
this
views.
is our brand is our child.
And we are actually just speaking the truth. We are just being honest, and I actually think it's important for people watching. I get a lot of messages from people saying, I really want to start my own brand, who have you partnered with, who's doing all your supply chain, and all of those kind of questions. And I think I'm now really conscious that I feel like, especially with influencer-led brands, influencers think that they absolutely need someone else, either a business partner or a service provider or whoever, to achieve their dream. And so I just wanted to share this as kind of a bit of a, you can actually do this by yourself. You can start your business by yourself. You can start it from scratch. You don't need anyone else. You don't need to give away any percentage of your company. You can do it all yourself because you are strong people. Exactly. Right at the start of Swim Society, I was in business with 3 other men, and it was kind of a joint venture. I kind of already had the concept. I wanted to create a community. I wanted to create a brand that was all-inclusive by default, no categorization. And that was kind of an idea that I was really, really passionate about. However, had no experience in terms of retail, supply chain, manufacturing. So I partnered up with these chaps. And to be honest, the relationship was really strong at the beginning, and they were really lovely, and I felt like we really created a great rapport. I actually met them at an event, and I just felt like I did click with them, and they were lovely. As it got further down the line, I didn't own even half of the company. So when I was voicing things that I wanted to change about the company, if I was voicing things that I wanted to implement, these changes weren't being made, and it was incredibly frustrating for me because I had such a vision in my head of what the brand should be. And I think the main hurdles that I found really difficult to overcome was that, you know, they don't understand what it's like to be a woman almost, because I was in business with 3 guys, and like, how on earth are they supposed to understand the needs of a woman in terms of a bikini, in terms of a brand, in terms of a community? So that's something that I really struggled with, and I think in the end, it came to the point where I had given them a lot of opportunities to, you know, listen to me. I wanted it to be collaborative. I never wanted to run the business on my own because, you know, it was a joint thing and they did add a lot of value to the company. You know, they were sampling, they kind of created a team behind us.
Great expertise and like contacts and
exactly.
a team.
Exactly. And I couldn't have started it without them. But I think as I was transitioning into wanting it to be maybe sustainable and, you know, using different materials and hiring people that I wanted to hire, and there are some people that maybe were working on the brand that I didn't want to be working on the brand because they conflicted with my values, and a lot of the things that were going on kind of behind the scenes did conflict with my values, and I wasn't there at all really, was I?
No.
I was just kind of promoting it, but I actually wanted a lot more involvement in like the behind the scenes work, which I wasn't getting. So I think ultimately it was just a clash of values. And as much as I am really passionate about making some dollar bills and making some Benjamins, I also very much care about every single aspect of the company.
Yeah.
That's the employees, that's who works in our factory, and I want to meet those people in the factory, and I want to go and see the factory, and I want to have a rapport with those people, and I want to know that those people are being treated in the right way that kind of sits with our values.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of came to a point where I was so fed up that my voice wasn't being heard, and I just felt like I had been ignored for 2 years. And it was incredibly frustrating because I felt that, you know, the brand was going to have a shelf life if it carried on in the way that it did, because all of the values and everything that it was built on, it wasn't being reflected in actually the infrastructure of the company. So it was a bit contradictory.
Yeah.
So ultimately, banana split. And it meant that I could be the sole owner of Swim Society, which is amazing, because I never ever thought this was going to happen or be possible. And to be honest, I will say, as much as it didn't end in the way that I would like it to end, I am very lucky that my business partners weren't catty about it. They didn't come after me. They were very, very amicable. And to be honest, I'm very, very thankful for that, because I know a lot of people in my situation are unable to get out of that agreement, and they completely lose their brand and all control, and they have to hand it over. And that wasn't the case with us. Like, we were very, very lucky that, you know, it didn't end up in a bloodbath.
I think ultimately we just came to a bit of like a fork in the road, really. And I think we wanted to go one way and they kind of wanted to go another way, which is fine. But I think it was the fact that we were very like set on our values. We knew what we wanted the brand to be, and we ultimately knew why we do what we do.
It was amicable, and I tell you what was a little bit pressure. This is a bit of tea that none of you will know, but it's quite interesting. So essentially, Laura was actually working for a different company that was owned by my other business partners. So Laura was working for my business partners on a different business. And Laura was the main person who was working on the social side of things for Swim Society, because that was the task that she was allocated to do at the time. So she was working across both brands. She was so good that I decided to take her away and employ her myself. Which, you know, in hindsight, I mean, it was a difficult decision, because Laura and I are actually friends, and we kind of created a friendship through working together so closely. We had a few drunken nights, you know how it is. And I knew that she was thinking about leaving anyway. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like I think
Laura... it's good to say that, because it sounds like you poached me. She didn't poach me.
No.
I was in a position where I wanted to move on, not for any particular reason, just that I felt like my time had come to an end at that particular company, which I would just like to say on the record that I'm very grateful for that experience, because I learned a lot from being in that company, and I was there for 2 years and I met some amazing people, had a great experience, etc. But I was at like I was probably at a bit of a fork in the road as well.
I had the situation where I did kind of have trust issues then, like moving forward, especially being on my own. I felt a little bit vulnerable. I was in shock that I managed to get the company on my own in the first place. Then I was like, holy cow, and now I need to actually like build a team. So it was perfect, because, you know, I trust Laura. She knows what the brand stands for. She's really passionate about the brand. I know that. And so it just seemed like a perfect fit. But then I was like, oh, so we need someone to do the website. And then Laura was like, well, it's an interesting one.
So basically, my very good friend Tash, who is now, as you all know, the third part of Swim Society, was also kind of thinking of leaving around the same time as me. We'd become very close in lockdown. Obviously, we were all working like from home, not in an office, but we'd forged like a really good relationship during that time. I knew that she was kind of looking at like going freelance, or like just looking at different opportunities. And I kind of didn't really think anything of it. And then Mon was like, yeah, we kind of need someone to do like the whole website. And I was like, ooh, that's not really in my in my toolkit, I'm afraid. And it just kind of like made sense that Tash was the first person that I thought of.
When kind of Laura said, oh, well, Tash, like, she's working like freelance, she's looking for like other job opportunities anyway, I grabbed Tash's number, I sent her a voice note. I know it's not very, you know, it's not very professional, but I sent her a voice note on WhatsApp, and I said, hey Tash, I know I haven't seen you in a while, but do you want to work for Swim Society? And she said yes. So it worked out really, really well. Obviously, I will work on my HR skills when hiring people in the future. So we've been working on the brand since last September, October.
I think it was October.
And it's so strange, because when we were actually launching, so many things were happening, and we thought, oh my God, I can't believe we've come this far. But kind of through that process, we were looking to work with a company who would help support us on the supply chain side of things, the manufacturing, because we thought
we don't know how to do that.
We don't know how to
also,
do
that's something that you want to get right, because you can't just ring up a factory and be like, hi there, can you make me some swimwear? Like, you need to do the proper checks. You need to have like proper procedures in place.
They need to have the right audits.
We just didn't have those contacts.
No.
So we felt like we needed someone to help us with that part.
Exactly. So I had a few meetings with different service providers, and what a service provider is they basically run the whole supply chain of the company, and they'll take a percentage of your profits at the end.
Kind of like an agency.
Yeah, kind of
but
like an
instead
agency.
of taking a fee, they take a profit share.
Yeah.
Rather than you paying them like
upfront,
whatever the monthly rate is.
Exactly, rather than like a retainer situation. So we'd been working with them. We did our first job with them, but we just had so many problems, and I think when it's your brand, and you know, for me, it had already gone wrong once in my eyes, and so I was really apprehensive about working with somebody else and making sure that they shared my vision, making sure that they didn't, you know, fuck it up. So we were kind of going through job one, going through sampling and things, and I think the difficulty is, I'm going to be brutally honest, when working with service providers, agencies, because they look after 1,000,001 other brands, they're not as invested. Of course, how can they be as invested as you are in the brand? And I think where all three of us were so passionate about our vision and what we wanted the swimwear to look like, and we were going through sampling and we were disappointed with the samples, we then had to go to the Maldives, and basically they were supposed to arrive, the samples for the actual shoot in the Maldives, you know, quite a large trip to organise, quite a lot riding on this trip, and we didn't get the samples until when?
It was like the day before.
Like the day before. And ultimately, you know, a few of these little niggles started happening, and we just thought, I don't want to be relying on somebody else to deliver something, because if it's in my hands, can hold my hands up and say that's my fault. Yeah. But we were kind of so on top of everything, so organised with everything.
For 3 people as well. We were literally 3 people running a business. Bear in mind, we only really gave this service provider the task of doing like the supply chain. So everything else we did, like we rebranded everything, we created new logos, new fonts, new tone of voice. Tash built a whole website, we shot everything, like we did everything else. Gifting, organising the actual Maldives trip, which was a nightmare in itself. Yeah. As one task. Yeah. That's all we kind of wanted them to do. But even that was too much, because, like you say, we didn't have, they didn't have the same passion that we did. And I think now we were probably naive to think that they would have done, because, like you say, they have lots of different clients to look after, and we're invested in this in a different way. But I think we always expect that same investment from somebody else, which is probably a bit naive, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is a bit naive. I just don't think it's possible for someone who's not part of the brand, day in, day out, to have the same effort levels. Business in general, you know, people can say, oh, I absolutely love swimwear, I think it's an amazing thing what you're doing. But like, they want to make money, and that's the only thing they care about. They don't actually care about your community of people that you've created, like with the brand. They don't actually care about you as an individual. And that's been the hardest lesson, is going into this very male-dominated world where there's not a lot of respect for, 1, women, and 2, for young people trying to create brands. And this is what has been so challenging, is that you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, you don't feel like you're respected. And ultimately, I just don't think anyone's ever going to do as good of a job as you are, especially because we have our own in-house team. And I think the positive using a service provider, if someone's watching this and thinking of starting a business, if you're an influencer or a celebrity and you just want to promote it, you don't want anything, you don't want to build your own team, you just want someone to run your company for you, and you just want to have say on the product and then kind of just say leave yes. Leave it at that. Perfect. I'm now a control freak, and I don't want someone, I want to choose who's in my team. I want to know who that person is. I want to know what their star sign is. I want to know where they live. I want to know what their mum's name is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to have that relationship with them. And I didn't have that with my previous partnership, and I definitely wanted this now. So it's so important for me now for us to build our own team, for us to traditionally hire people, and for us to really gain a rapport, because I want people to love working with us. Yeah. How can someone love working with us if we didn't even know who was working on our brand? This was the most frustrating thing. I asked once to sit in on a design meeting. No, sorry, you can't. No, it's not really what we do here. All right, well, I want to be in the meeting. And I just felt, again, like there was barriers of transparency, and I was sick of it. Now we're focusing on building our team. Like this year is going to be super, super, super exciting because we've got some new people coming on board this year. My lips are sealed.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But I can't wait. I just see the company growing and growing, and I'm so excited to actually hire people.
Yeah,
and interview them.
I mean, we should just point out that, like, just to confirm, we did build our own website because that has been circulated.
Oh yeah, so this is another thing that was going around, and like obviously
I'm really stirring the pot here.
I know, but I think it is important because especially where we have built everything from scratch. Like I don't think people understand how difficult this is. This is not a collaboration with a different brand. I'm not doing a collaboration with Swim Society where someone else is running the whole team. It's literally
us three.
Laura, Tash and I running it. And we did hear through the grapevine that this service provider was saying that they rebranded Swim Society, that they did all the website and they did all of like the social and everything. And they used it as a case study in a meeting with somebody else. And that to me is actually really, really hurtful because we've done that all of ourselves, and that takes away the credit that's due for Tash and Laura. Obviously, small part to play from me, but
no,
genuinely, it is upsetting because
it's personally quite hurtful.
Yeah,
and I know you shouldn't take things like that personal, but we've worked our asses off.
Yeah, like, don't lie. Essentially,
but we've worked our bollocks off, and like for someone to just casually be like, "Oh yeah, we did it all." No, you didn't. The three of us did it.
Literally.
And I wouldn't mind if, you know, I would be fine with them using us as a case study if
just using the samples or
the samples, because they did create the samples, they did create the designs. They did. I mean, we gave them the designs. That's also a good point. We designed the collection. They essentially
just CAD'd it up.
But they did do all of that process for us. We did take it off our hands. We can't take that away. But just don't lie, because that's when I'm going to get pissed off.
Yeah.
When someone takes credit for the work that we've done, when this brand is literally like our child. Exactly. Don't say you birthed my child.
No, you did not birth our child.
That's how it feels.
Yeah, you did not. We did the whole rebranding. We spent a lot of time picking the logo. We spent a lot of time picking the fonts. If you can name me the 2 fonts that we use, please, feel free. But you can't. I think that's just something that I really wanted to set straight. And I think it's so hard in business, and even like in the influencer culture, because there is this thing where like you can't be truthful. Like ultimately I would love to go on my story and say, I've heard this about this company. I'm worried about my friends and my influencers getting involved with this company because at the end of the day, it's a waste of money. It is a waste of money when you can do it by yourself. But I'm not technically allowed to do that. What's it called? Like defamation of something.
Defamation of character.
Yeah. When really, is it defamation? Because it's the truth.
I mean, let's just say this is our personal experience, so we can't say that this is going to happen to everybody.
Also, I do know this is what was worse actually, is because we know other people that have worked with them
that have had
great experiences.
Yeah.
So this is what was really frustrating, and I think it is just very person dependent. But I will say, if you are an influencer watching this, be careful.
Do you know what? I think it's not even specific to influencers. You have something you're passionate about and you want to make a go of. Just be careful in general, because
people are sharks.
We know that this brand has a lot of potential, and whilst that gives us great opportunities, it also presents us with a lot of people that are just interested in exploiting that potential, which is not necessarily what we want to do. Obviously, we want the brand to grow and be really successful, but that will never come at the expense of who we are and what our brand values are.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that mentality. So I would say to anybody, just be careful who you put your dreaming with, who you give your passion to, because sometimes people don't have the same mindset as you. But
and
yeah, I mean, it's personal experience.
Exactly.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Personal experience. On a serious note, if you're going to go into business with someone and you've kind of just met them and they've come to you with this opportunity, you don't know that person. You might think you know them and they might be really nice to you and take you for coffee, take you for lunch and schmooze the shit out of you. They might even buy you a handbag. But they might not have the best intentions, and you have to be careful. Yeah. You need to see references. You need to find out who his friends are. You need to do a little LinkedIn search, see if you've got any mutuals. You know, you need to really do some MI5 digging and stalking before you get into any of this, all right? So that's just a heads up. Someone who has made mistakes twice now, like big mistakes, which are a huge impact on the company. Like, it's massively slowed us down, massively
100%.
holds back everything. It's been very, very stressful. We literally decided to part ways with our service provider when? February?
Yeah, around that time.
February. We're then under pressure to, in literally 2 months, we've had to find a fulfillment centre, a new factory, shipping, like just everything. Like from scratch. And it's been so stressful. Poor Tash. Probably got grey hairs.
Tash is the goat at this point because like we know shit all.
We know sweet bugger all.
Like, I don't know. When people start saying customs to me, I'm like I don't know what's happening.
Eh?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I only know when I've paid customs on my like Australian makeup that I've had shipped over. Do you know what I mean? That's about the level of my knowledge.
Literally.
Of customs.
But Tash comes up with these like amazing spreadsheets, and she's working on the numbers. She's like, I crunch the numbers, and this is what I've done. And and me and Laura are like, okay, cool. Yeah, signed up. Yeah, that'll do.
Do you know what though? I think even though we've had questionable experiences, both situations were big learning curves. And it also, I mean, God help anyone that comes into business with us now, because we are fucking paranoid as anything.
Yeah,
like,
we
are.
Next level. Like,
we are like, you're not touching this.
Yeah, good luck to you.
We know everything about you.
Because we get so many amazing people messaging us saying they want a job and they want to work with us, and we love seeing messages like that, don't we? It makes us feel really like we're doing a good job and that we're creating a good atmosphere that people want to be a part of. But I'm
it's
shit
hard
scared.
to understand people's intentions. I think that's what it is.
Exactly.
But as
we're
we've now parted ways, as Mon just mentioned, we will now be producing in a different factory. Can I say where it is?
It's in Turkey.
It's in Turkey. Which
It's
is
in
very
Turkey.
exciting for us because I think we even said in a previous video, like ideally we'd want to produce within Europe, sustainability wise. We thought that would be like year 1, year 2 maybe. It's now like 6 months in, which is a bit scary.
Bit of
but
a rush.
it's happened.
Yeah.
We're so happy with the way that everything's gone with the factory at this point. They're so communicative. They're really, really helpful. They're so sweet and so nice. It's made us feel so much better because I think we were at the point where we were like, everyone's out to get us, which is definitely
hate
not
everyone.
the case.
Yeah. The stars honestly aligned. Like, I know I'm a bit spiritual, a bit kooky, and people can watch this like, Mon, stop talking about spirituality. But the stars legit did align.
Yeah.
Like, it was so random. Like, we decided to split with the service provider. We then were like, holy cow, we need to organise everything.
Yeah.
And then just everything has fallen into place.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it. I think once you take a leap of faith and you believe in what you're doing, just everything's happened for us in the right way.
Do you know what? I think that's so true because I think you always think, well, if I do this, well, I mean, let's be fair, I was terrified. If you remember, I had like a full-on breakdown. I was like, what are we going to do? Tash had to really pull me out of the hole. But I think it's just genuinely like, look, this is going to work. Whatever way it happens, it's going to work. And like, your timeline might be different. Things might get pushed around. Might not be the way you think it is. But if you believe it's going to happen, you can make it happen.
I need to tell them the stars aligning story. Basically, I was at a bar in Barbados, okay, which I didn't even want to be there. Someone dragged me there because I don't like going out. And I met this guy called Justin. And Justin was like, you need to get Clubhouse. And I was like, what's Clubhouse? And he said, look, just get it. I'll refer you. Like, you can hop on it tomorrow. Hopped on it the next day. Went on a group little Clubhouse with a few people, was chatting away. Anyway, met this guy on Clubhouse who I'd kind of heard of because he did own another very successful brand that they sold last year. Spoke to him for just some friendly advice on the company. Now he's coming to work with us this year.
Fantastic.
So if it wasn't for Justin and the random bar that I didn't want to be at,
Yeah,
you wouldn't be here.
that's very true. I mean, a lot of other things have come into play apart from the random bar. But the stars definitely aligned.
The signs are aligned.
Also, we worked very hard Tash worked very hard to make those things happen.
Yeah.
And we just knew that, like, I think it was in a weird way, because we had to do it in such a short space of time.
We just had to knuckle down.
We just had no choice. Whereas before, we probably would have been like a bit more like, oh, we can plan it at this time and then we'll look to move it this time, which is kind of what we've done. We still had it in the plan, but this just meant like, okay, we have no choice now, we have to just do it now.
But we did it, and we're so excited to share this part of our journey with you. We want to obviously take you with us on our journey, so we thought this was a really important point to touch on. We're not looking to dog anyone out. We're not looking to bitch about anyone. It's more just that I think it's important as a woman in business. Women make up such a small sector of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I think we are subject to making more mistakes because we lead with our hearts, we lead with compassion, we lead with respect. Not everyone is like that. And I just feel a due diligence to raise awareness to that fact that there are people that are out to get you, unfortunately, and there are people that are sharks and they just care about making money off other people, and that's just how they've been brought up, or that's been how like they've been socialized to work in these work environments, because it is very dog eat world. Dog eat doggy? Doggy doggy. Doggy doggy.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog world. That's what I meant to say.
It's a cutthroat world, right?
It's a cutthroat, horrible world, okay? So just be careful. But that's the main reason why I wanted to raise awareness to that. It wasn't to kind of slate anybody, because I was actually advised by a few people not to kind of
It's just also not
go
really
into
our
it.
vibe. Like,
I don't care.
What's
I actually
done
don't
is
care.
done.
I actually don't care that the relationships have like demised or the relationships have broken down, because ultimately what's meant to be will be. It's more a case of, I would honestly hate for this to happen to anybody else, because I'm really lucky that I'm in the position that I'm in, where, you know, I have a good enough income where I can support the business myself. A lot of people might save for years and years and years to just have one chance, to just have one shot to make it in making their business. And if someone else is a dog eating another dog, then then all the money's gone, and then they've just got nothing.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I would hate for that to happen to somebody, especially a woman. So that was why. I'm going to stop it saying the word dog now. Because
Dog eat.
dog eat. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys subscribing and liking and commenting below, because we do read them.
We do.
And I just, I appreciate the love, because I feel like I am so lucky with the followers and the fan base that I do have. You guys are so open-minded, are so understanding. Like, even when we went away to the Maldives, we had such a great response.
Yeah.
And I just feel really goddamn lucky.
Yeah.
So you guys are great.
lucky.
Let us know what you want to see more of. If you want to see more business stuff, if you want to see when we're starting like sampling and things, let us know. Thank you so much for watching, and away with the show. See you later. Lots
Bye.
of love.